Hi guys, my name is Valerie and this is a channel about America. Today I want to share with you a story about how did I find a job as an international student after I have completed my AAS degree. So today we're gonna talk about resumes, we're gonna talk about websites where you send out your resumes, we're gonna talk a little bit about interviews. If you are planning about becoming an international student or you already are an international student in the United States, then this video is gonna cover lots of important information about your future OPT. So stay here and keep on watching. For those of you who haven't watched my videos before, I recommend go back to my channel and watch a couple videos there, because I've explained lots of information about my college, about my program of study. Now I'm just gonna tell you that I've been studying in a community college and I was completing online marketing and social media architect AAS program. That is a 2-year degree program, and after you complete it, you get a chance to apply for OPT, optional practical training. That's the time when you get your work permit. Everyone is dreaming about work permit in the United States, and that's the time when you have it, and you have to find a job to have your work permit active, to have your student visa, student status active, and have your OPT active. That's why here's my first advice. When you know that you're gonna apply for OPT, and when you already know when's gonna be the start of your OPT, the start date of your OPT. If you don't know what OPT is, there is a good video on my channel as well. I explained lots of details about OPT over there, so click and watch it. When you know when you're gonna start your OPT, you need to start looking for jobs ASAP. Honestly, it might take you several months to find a job, especially if you want to have a good job, and of course your job has to relate to program which you were completing in your school. Most of the programs which community colleges offer are technical programs. That's why at the end, when you start looking for a job, that's gonna be some serious kind of job. That's gonna be a job which requires you creating a resume, requires you sending out the resumes, and requires you to go into different interviews. This is what I did to find my job and to make sure that I was covered with my good job, which brought me lots of experience and I really enjoyed it. The first step was to create a resume. You put only that experience which relates somehow to the job where you want to apply, to the position where you want to apply. So for example, I was a lifeguard when I came to the United States in 2015 as J1 student through work and travel program. That is nice to have that experience, but that is not something you mention in your resume when you try to apply for some digital marketing position. So please make sure you include only those jobs if you had that experience which will relate to your future job, because otherwise it's pointless. No one's gonna pay attention to that, and you would just waste time on sending out those resumes. Another step is to register on most popular websites where you can start applying for jobs. In this case, in the United States, it's gonna be Indeed.com, ZipRecruiter, Headhunter, and LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a huge social platform where you can connect to people who work in different industries and who work in the industries in which you are interested in. That's what I did. Going ahead, I want to say that I actually did find my job through LinkedIn. There are different options how you can find a job through LinkedIn. You can either contact people who work in some companies in which you would want to work, some managers of marketing departments, for example. If you want to be and work in marketing department, you can contact them directly and you can ask them if they have any positions open. That's one way to do that, and sometimes, well, most of the time people do reply, and sometimes they can actually help you out and they can actually tell you about a position which they have or which they gonna have in the nearest future, but which is not public yet. So that's one way. Another way is just to apply to jobs. There is an option on LinkedIn to apply to jobs which are posted on LinkedIn and send out your resumes. Indeed, ZipRecruiter, Headhunter works pretty much the same, although you cannot contact no one directly there, but you can send your resumes. You register on all of those websites. You spend actually, will be honest, lots of time on filling out your profiles, because on all those profiles you have to include your experience, your education, your skill set, separately for each of the platform, and it takes lots of time. Oh, it takes way too much time. And that's why even if you have your resume in your PDF version, it still means that you have to go to each of those websites and separately and individually include your personal information, your work related information on those websites. Sounds like lots of have been done already. You have your resume, you registered on those websites. But now the worst part is coming, sending out resumes. Trust me guys, in America you have to send them out, I don't know, like 30 resumes, 50 resumes per day to get some feedback. Some people won't get back to you at all. So you send the resume and no one contacts you, no one tells you whether you were, well, probably you were not selected, but they won't even tell you if you were not selected. So you just send. I started it in August and my OPT start day was in January. August, September, October, November, December, 5 days. It doesn't mean that I was looking for a job 5 days, I mean 5 months. It doesn't mean that I was looking for a job 5 months. It took a little bit less time, but interview process might be really time consuming, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. I was sending out the resumes every single day, opening a website, send. Sometimes I didn't even read the job descriptions because I knew that I was just fresh on the market, and I didn't have much experience, and of course I were not my goal was not to get a manager position or anything like that, because I knew that I had to gain some experience first. So of course I was not looking at the jobs which paid $100,000 per year, because I would not get it anyway. I would not have enough experience to apply for those jobs. So I was looking at some interns position, I was looking at some trainees positions, junior position, and I was sending out those resumes. Interesting fact, the first company who replied to me actually hired me. I didn't even think that something's gonna work out of that. So I had my first interview, phone interview scheduled maybe 3 weeks after I sent them the resume. 3 weeks before you get your phone interview. My phone interview lasted for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, something around that. By the way, if you want me to make a video about the whole interview process and which questions they asked me there, about some interesting facts of going to interviews in the United States, write it in comments below and I'll make a video about that. So at the end of the phone call, no one tells you whether you're selected for the next step. You just wait again. And I waited, I don't want to lie, but I think like couple weeks before I get back to them, and they invited me for an actual face-to-face interview. So when you would go to the office, it was before COVID, so everyone was in the office, and they would interview in person. I were interviewed for 3 hours. 3 hours, that's lots of hours. I was super tired, super exhausted, and at the end of the interview they told me that in a month they're gonna let me know whether I was selected or not. Maybe 3 weeks. Well, it was definitely more than 2 weeks. I think like 3-4 weeks. And my recommendation is keep sending out those resumes, because what if the company contacts you and they say that you're not hired and your OPT starts soon, and if you don't get your job, your OPT will be expired, they will cancel your OPT and your student status will be expired as well. I really was hoping for the best, but I still was sending out those resumes to other companies. During that period of time I got a couple phone interviews, but I really liked the company where I went for the first face-to-face interview, and I really hope they're gonna call me back. And they did. They did call me back, they did hire me. Also it was, I think it was December-ish, something around that, and my OPT started in January. So I told the company that I can only start working starting from January, because before that I would not have my work permit. So that's something you also have to keep in mind. You cannot sign any job offers before you get your work permit. You cannot start working before you get your work permit, otherwise your student status can be terminated, and you don't want this. So my main point is plan ahead. Don't think that you can find a job within, I don't know, 2 weeks or even 3 weeks. Even if you're lucky enough and you send out your first resume and someone replies back to you right away like, hey, let's go have phone call. Guys, it might last for at least 3-4 weeks before they actually hire you. It might be a phone call and it might take them 1 or 2 weeks to get back to you and tell you if they want to invite you for face-to-face interview, or in this case, Zoom interview. After you having another interview with the manager, or maybe one more interview with the whole team, or maybe that's going to be one interview with the manager and the whole team, and after that they're going to take another 2 or 3 weeks before they let you know if you are hired, or if maybe you're selected for another step. And another step might be some test. They might give you an assignment to check your skills, and it's going and going and going, and from 3 weeks it can turn into 3 months of hiring process. And hold on here, even if they tell you that yes, you are hired, we really want to work with you, here is a job offer, they still gonna run background check on you. Some companies going crazy about it and they actually spend another 2 weeks, or I don't even know how many weeks, checking everything from your background. Where did you get your education? Where did you get your work experience? In all possible details. And at the end, if they find something suspicious, they can still reject the job offer and say, sorry, no story. That's why my main point, guys, plan ahead. Start looking for a job as soon as you can, because probably if that's industry where you work in some companies and your position requires actual some knowledge, skills, and lots of set of I don't know, tools which you can use, the interview process and hiring process can take a while. So my story was that I started applying for jobs in August, and they told me that I will be working with them in December. I hope you got my point. So that was the video about how did I find a job, which platforms did I use to find a job. If you liked it, go ahead and click the like button. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments. And as always, I wish you guys have a good day or good night. Bye.